So I've been meaning to get this video up for months now, and I feel really bad for that because I've just been so busy, and it's just like when I'm setting this up to record it, it takes a lot of stuff, and so I'm sorry on that part. But the place this is being recorded at is this game lab type place in Southern California, and it's named Survios. And what they've done is they've gotten the Oculus Rift, which I'm sure a lot of you know about by now, and they've gotten two PlayStation Move little, nunchuck type devices, and then a actual PlayStation Move little bulb, I guess motion sensor thing, and attach it to the top of the Oculus Rift. Now what this basically does is it allows you to do the Oculus Rift games, and so forth, but see how I'm moving my hands and it actually registers where my hand's at and so forth on the screen? That's what it allows you to do. Now unfortunately, the audio on this got corrupted when it was being recorded, and I don't know why, but that's why I'm doing the voiceovers and so forth. And so the first thing I'm doing here is a training game. And so basically what's going on here is I'm learning how to actually hold the shotgun, and at first it's kind of like, I don't really know what I'm doing and so forth, but then it's like I get it. And as you can see here, I'm gonna pull back on it to reload it, and then I'm actually able to shoot the targets. And I mean, it works really good. I've always considered myself to have, pretty good aim with a gun. I'm not a big gun person at all, but my aunt has a muzzle loading, or she worked at a muzzle loading ranch for many, many years. And when I was a lot younger, and I'd visit family in Indiana, I'd go there and they have the little guns and stuff like that for people that were smaller or whatever else, and I was hitting stuff farther away on that target range than the adults were. And a lot of people thought I was super practiced at it, and I'm like, nope. And I also played a lot of light gun games when I was a kid too, and I got really, really, really good at those. I used to be able to play point blank on extreme difficulty non-stop and never lose a life and stuff like that. But anyways, back to the point of the whole video. What I'm learning here is how to hold the guns and stuff like that. You can see it does even as much minute things as wrist movements, as you can see here, where it's following my wrist movements. And I mean, that's pretty crazy. The graphics on this are not, super duper hyper realistic graphics, and obviously there's some things with the arm models not being perfectly accurate or whatever else, and things being contorted. But that said, this is the most immersive gameplay experience I'd ever had in my life. Not in terms of storyline, but in terms of feeling I was really there, because I've tried a lot of virtual reality stuff, in my life. And I mean, back from that pterodactyl game that I'm sure some of you remember back from the 90s and stuff like that. This is the first time I've really tried it, and it's really felt real. And I got to try the Oculus Rift at E3 2013, and back then I thought it was amazing too, and that was without even having the hand motions here. With these PlayStation Move controller nunchuck things, oh my god. It's just, it's unreal how realistic this felt. It felt like I was actually there and actually aiming. It was just, I don't really have any words for it. And sorry I keep on calling them nunchuck things. I don't own a PlayStation 3. I haven't owned a PlayStation console since the PlayStation 2, and I've played the PlayStation 3 maybe 10 times. Anyways, here I'm trying to shoot targets far away, which is taking a little bit of work and stuff like that. But all the same, again, very, very, very realistic. It's just, I can't really put it into words. It just blew my mind. And now I'm trying out the bow and arrow, which again was very, just mind-blowing to get used to and so forth. And see, I reach behind me to pick up an arrow right there, and it's little touches like that make it feel I don't know, it's this feels like when Mario 64 came out and the analog controller got popular, and it was people were wow, this is the new way, this is the new thing that's gonna happen. Something fundamental has changed in the way I interact with video games. That's what this felt like. This felt Jesus, in 10 years, this is going to be it. This is what a lot of video games coming out are going to be made for. And we're going to look back and be how did we ever play video games without this? I'm sure video games will continue to be released that aren't all about the Oculus Rift, but all the same, And finally, we get to the actual game that's going on here. Now what this is basically a shoot 'em up here, a zombie shoot 'em up. And what's going on here is you're in this little grid, basically surrounded on all sides by a invisible force field. So you can't just go and jump and run out of it, but you can move within it. And so you've got a good variety of weapons. I've got a grenade there. I've got a pistol and so forth. And you let go of it by throwing it like that. and it blows up and so forth. And again, that felt very natural. The physics behind it, you know, like I feel like I'd really aim it where I wanted to. On the table, there's a large assortment of weapons, including a shotgun, I forget what else is in there, a Tommy gun, a rifle, so forth. And so you can get your, you know, pick of what you want. The best weapon, though, comes up in a little bit, which is the axe. And I loved using that because it felt so crazy. Like, it was just nuts. But anyway, so you shoot the zombies here. You can see the blue lines that I can't leave from. And zombies are on my left and right here and everything else. And I'm getting, you know, used to it and all that kind of stuff. And when you shoot them, they get down on the ground, so you have to actually aim down and shoot them. Now I'm on level 2, which was basically level 1, which is the very, you know, beginning of it. Again, like, I had a very hard time remembering, you know, I knew I was in reality, but it was just bizarre because I wasn't. You know, I didn't know, how can I put this into words? Like, it's like I knew I was in reality, you know, I knew where I was, but the game was so immersive that it felt like this was not just a device on my head and two things. It felt more like I was like in a hologram or something like that. You know, like I was like on, for better words, the holodeck. You know, it felt like this was an actual environment that I myself was moving around in that was simulated. You know, it didn't feel like it was just some screen I was looking through. And you can see some of the, you know, wrist movement problems there, a little bit distorted, but you know, this is a beginning technology. This is still something they're testing out, and I was one of those play testers basically. But it's definitely accurate enough that you can see I'm accurately aiming exactly where I want to aim, you know, with it and stuff like that. And I don't think I've ever used a shotgun in my life. I'm fairly sure I haven't, you know. And so it's very accurate in that sense. It feels very intuitive that you know where you're at, where you're physically moving around, where you want to aim. The weapons, when you grab them here, like I actually get that, oh, there we go. Now I've got the axe. Now the axe is really awesome because remember earlier how you saw me, like, you know, moving my wrist around and stuff like that? You can see the wrist movements are taken into an account here. And so the way you've got the blade is actually, you know, the way it's positioned is actually relevant. And I wish we had audio on this because everybody kind of like freaked out at what I did here because they were like shocked that I was getting used to it so well. And you'll see here in just a minute. I think the zombies are sneaking up on me from behind, and so I don't see them yet. But you can actually dual wield stuff here. Like I get the Tommy gun and I get the axe both at the same time here. And so, I mean, this guy's got to be basically a beast to be like one-handing a Tommy gun. I mean, this guy's got to be like a monster. But you can throw the axe and it automatically comes back to you, which is pretty nice. But you can actually chop these guys up. Like, it takes a little bit for me to get used to it here, but right there, so you can see I'm like chopping them up, man, and then just finish them off with the Tommy gun. And it's just like right here, I think I headshot one of these guys in a minute, and that's when everybody like freaks out because I just run up to it and just nail it. I don't know if like we got it on video here accurately too, but you can bend down and chop them up too and everything else like that. And I'm getting owned here from the left and the right both. I think right here I do it. Yeah, so it's like, I mean, there we go, headshot him right there. And I mean, you know, this makes you literally feel like a total badass. It's like, I'm not one to advocate going around and like, you know, just shooting people with a gun, but these guys are zombies, you know. I mean, it's zombies, so it don't really matter. So it's like, in that sense, you know, I actually died right here. I got too into the fact that I'd headshot him and stuff like that. But, you know, if this stuff goes to like amusement parks and stuff like that, I would gladly pay like, you know, $10 a pop or something like that to go play this like in a big old field with like a bunch of people or something like that. You know, this is just amazing. But yeah, so anyways, the place that I did this at is linked in the info. It's called Servios. They actually have a lab in Northern California now too, I believe. And you can go to their page and, you know, maybe they'll have like public testing dates, I'm not sure. But it's a hell of an experience. I highly, highly recommend it. Nothing in gaming compares to it today. It really does feel like this is the next big jump in gaming technology and overall entertainment technology. It was so immersive, I can't put it into words. And you know how hard it is for me to get immersed into a game. Amnesia? No way, you know. All these other big games people want me to get immersed in and stuff like that, no, don't even get bothered. This game, oh man, Also, on a side note, Hobosonic, who has helped me out ridiculously, like I can't even put it into words. I mean, First of all, you know, in terms of like getting me stuff, he got me the Nintendo 3DS with that capture card. So you can basically thank all the 3DS demos I did, all the Bravely Default series and stuff like that to him, all the Pokemon Y series and so forth. But now he actually got me a Oculus Rift, which he said will be here sometime in June. So when that gets here, I intend to do a whole boatload of games with the Oculus Rift because it is just an amazing device. Yeah, unfortunately, I know some people have motion sickness with it and they get affected very badly by it, but I know that they're working on fixing those things because the technology isn't fully out yet, but it's very close. And yeah, now all I gotta do is just get that and get an OmniTread thing. I think it's called OmniTread. I'm not sure if that's what it's called, but look that up if you haven't heard of it. It's basically a treadmill that you can run on in place, and it detects your motion and like ducking and weaving and all that stuff. Oh man, when that happens, when both those things are out to the public and people have gotten used to them for like a year or two, you're gonna see some crazy FPS tournaments. You're gonna be getting like dudes from the army and stuff like that gonna be competing in these tournaments, man. It's gonna be nuts. It's gonna be, this is it. Like, it's just, I'm so excited. Like, like I don't know. This is just so cool. But anyways, sorry for going all nuts about this. You should all check it out. And that is about it. So yeah. Ah, this is insane.